Hi everyone, it's quick tip time again. This tip is for the 1400mm Cessna by Airfield, also known as the Skytrainer. Noticed a couple of weak points on this plane and just thought I'd show you how that I strengthened them up a little bit. And so the one thing is the prop. The prop seemed to be quite fragile and broke fairly easily. I replaced this with a 11/8 master air screw prop. Now this is not the electric prop, this is the fuel prop, and it seems to work just fine, flies terrifically. And then the second thing that I noticed and that I've heard other people complain on is the nose gear bends quite easily. So we're going to take a look at that and see if we can do a modification on that to make it a little bit stronger. So let's get started here. So first step is to remove the prop. And we do that by popping off the spinner here, first off, if I can get it. Now the spinner just kind of snaps on, so once you get one side, you should be able to kind of wiggle it right off there. Unscrew the prop. Okay. Prop comes right off. Set that aside. Take off this back plate and take that right off. Now, as you can see here, I've already put a different screw in here like I said I was going to. So we're going to loosen that right up. And the first thing that we're going to do is, once that's loosened up, drop the wheel right off. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a screwdriver and unhook this right here at the mechanism that turns the whole wheel assembly. Okay, so the main points where it loosens up is there's a gap right here between this and where it goes up into this mechanism here, and then there's also a gap down here where the wheel goes on. Right here there's a little bit of a gap, and those are the places that it seems to bend. So what I did is I took this off here and I used a Dremel tool with a grinding bit and ground down the top here. I also swapped this around. You can grind a new flat spot on the other side if you want to. So once that's ground down a little bit to where it fits tighter, you take that and you put that right back up in. And also another thing that you might want to do is replace that Allen head just so with something bigger so that you can get your hands on it. So put that back in and tighten that back down. Now this is important to get that really tight. So what I have done in the past is I've taken a pair of pliers, just kind of turn this a little bit better. Or if you have another Allen head screw that is similar to this that will fit, that would probably be a good idea as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the landing gear here, and unfortunately we're going to change the looks of it a little bit so it doesn't look quite a scale. We're going to take this right off. So this is glued on, so you kind of break it, you can kind of get underneath it. I just kind of wiggled it back and forth until that came off. So we take that off, and what I've done is, if you can find a whole metal sleeve like this that's the right size, that would be great. If not, what I've done is I've taken these little Dubro wheel stop connectors. Try to see those. And those, they have the right size hole to slide down over. If you get ones that are a little bit too small, you can drill them out with a drill. They drill really easy. Just hold them in a pair of pliers or a vise and drill them out. And I'm putting 4 of those right down on here. So put it right down to there, putting 4, one right after the other. And try to eliminate any gap in between it. So this will strengthen the whole thing. Now, as you can see, I'm going to put the screws on the back here, towards the back, facing the back. I'm going to take my Allen head wrench. Grab the right one here. I had the right one to begin with. There we go. So tighten them down. I'm going to go back through and tighten these down a little bit better once I'm done here. But main thing is to make sure that you get as much of that gap out so there's no place for it to bend. Okay. There we go. So those are all in place. So that shores that up. I might want to adjust that one so there's a little bit less gap there. Put this back up in. Again, I created a new flat spot so that these lined up a little bit better. Took the grinding tool and ground a little bit more of a flat spot. Put it right back up in there. Now you can see it goes flush. Now I'm going to put a couple of washers underneath just in case. You can do this or you don't have to do this. I'm going to put a couple of washers right there underneath so that we got the right length on this. And then take the Allen head screw, Allen head wrench here, crank that down. There we go. So all that's left is just reassembly. Put that back on. And now you have a little bit more solid down here. Now this isn't going to eliminate 100% of the bending. I flew it like this, and I still did have it bend up here. That's why I think it's prudent to replace this, and I'm going to replace this with something else when I get a chance and create another flat spot so it digs in a little bit better. But it will get rid of probably about 80% of it. I flew this last night, put about 10 landings on it. Some of them pretty hard, and the wheel did bend back a little bit, but not nearly as bad as it did when it was stock. So the other thing is also reinforce this here, this little guide that this comes down through. That broke out on me. I epoxied it. I don't know if you can see that. Let me point that out to you again. Reinforce this here. I epoxied it on the bottom here and around the sides, and that just makes it, gives it a little bit something to push on besides the soft foam, so that'll help so it doesn't loosen up as well. Okay, hopefully that'll help somebody out. Catch you later.